I welcome and cherish all of you for coming. The Canadian Antisemitism Education Foundation's Award of Excellence is celebrating allyship and honoring Ms. Donna Holbrook. I know many of you, but not everybody. I'm Andrea Spindle, Executive Director of CAEF, and it's my great honor and privilege to thank all of you for coming this evening, for your sponsorship and your support of CAEF, and for recognizing and valuing the tremendous importance of Christian-Jewish relations that are being spoken of and celebrated this evening. Before I call upon our MC and stalwart supporter, journalist extraordinaire, and outstanding spokesperson for Justice for Jews, Barbara Kay, I would like to take a moment to thank three special sponsors of tonight's event. You will see on the program that the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem in Canada is the presenting sponsor, and that speaks to just one more generous act of love from ICEJ and Donna Holbrook. And you'll hear more about her contributions this evening. But in addition, we have two platinum sponsors, though only one appears in the program. So I want to just take a moment to thank the Koshitsky family, who are not, I don't believe, are with us this evening, and Rodine and Stephen Stein, who, it's a kind of a funny story. I called Stephen. He was one of the first people I called and said, we're going to do this event for Donna. Will you be a sponsor? He said, sure, put me down for $5,000. Just like that. Okay, but then he was gone for a number of weeks or a month or so, and I get a funny email saying, we've sent you a check for $10,000, why did it get returned? And I thought, sounds like spam, what's that all about? So I contacted this lovely gentleman, Charles, and he told me about this gift fund and that Stephen Stein and Rodine Stein had donated $10,000. So that's the lovely kind of mistake. And I thank them tremendously. They have long been supporters of CAEF. I would now like to introduce and thank the members of the board of CAEF for their commitment to our current priorities of combating anti-Zionism, which is only the latest and most vicious and vile form of anti-Semitism. When I call your name, if you're here to be recognized, please stand. Carrie Katz, Irving Weisdorf, Michael Tepper, Michael Bagel, Jeffrey Dorfman, I haven't seen Jeff. There he is, thank you. Avi Atali. Shoshana Gottfried is not here. She sent a message, she had to be home. Cheryl Korn, Cheryl here? Yes. Sean Egan, who just got off a plane an hour ago. Welcome, Sean. Two other members are out of country, Anita Bromberg and Paula Glick, but they've done tremendous work. Now, please look at the screen for a short message about CAEF and about our founder, the extraordinary volunteer who continues to guide our board, Shirley Ann Haber.
It seems that our enemies have a special propensity for planning their attacks against Israel on important religious holidays, when we are most vulnerable and occupied. After the horror of the Second Intifada, which occurred on the first day of Rosh Hashanah on September the 28th, the year 2000, Israel was attacked by Arab terrorists throughout the country. Jewish people everywhere were horrified, and I became determined to do something. The internet was in its infancy. People were beginning to use email. Twitter had just been invented, and anti-Semitism was on the rise, showing its ugly head in a new way. After hearing Erwin Kotler deliver a talk on Israel's indigeneity to over 1,000 people, and ended up by telling everyone present, go home and tell 10 non-Jewish people what I have said, I personally felt inadequate and realized that we needed knowledgeable speakers to teach Jewish and non-Jewish people about the glorious history of the Jewish people, presenting accurate facts and truths to combat all the lies we were hearing in the media, and to write letters to the editor promoting Israel's case and fighting anti-Semitism. But how would we do this? By inviting expert speakers to lecture at large gatherings. Education was the key. So when I sat down with our lawyer in 2004 to apply for charitable status for our new organization, we needed a name for our group. But it was clear, the Canadian Anti-Semitism Education Foundation, CAEF. Perfect.
CAEF continues to offer education about Jews, Israel, and anti-Semitism, focusing on combating anti-Zionism, the most prevalent form of Jew hatred today. Education isn't enough, especially when anti-Zionism is coming from our education system itself, including teacher training institutions, unions, and the diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants. Advocacy and action are essential as we face hatred from the left, the right, and radical Islam or Islamism. Working with allies from Christian, Hindu, Muslim, and other communities is essential. Anti-Semitism isn't just a Jewish problem. The rise of hatred against any community is a societal problem. CAEF welcomes support and collaboration from all who value freedom, justice, and opportunity for all. Please welcome Barbara Kay, who is celebrating her birthday today.
Thank you very much for the lovely, warm welcome. And I should tell you that I spent, every birthday, it's both great to have a birthday, and then it comes with obligations. And one of my obligations on my birthday is to spend an hour on Facebook answering all the people most of whose names I don't recognize. Oh, have a wonderful birthday, because I didn't know that once you enter Facebook, and you put in your date of birth, which I now realize was a terrible mistake. And I have this kind of compulsion to answer like every single one. Oh, thank you very much. That's so kind. Oh, so that's how I spent part of today. I'm also very delighted to be in this room, in this synagogue, because this is my synagogue growing up. And my parents were very involved in the synagogue, and I got married in this synagogue, and my wedding dinner was in this room, so it has some very happy memories for me, and very glad to be back. I am grateful for CAEF's invitation to participate in tonight's event. It really is a privilege to join this circle of celebrants charged with bestowing CAEF's Advocate Award of Excellence on a most worthy honoree. Donna Holbrook, National Executive Director of the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem in Canada, which I will refer to as ICEJ, first came to my attention after Hamas's October 7th proto-genocide in southern Israel. On October 8th, as we all remember, a near-global abscess of rabid anti-Semitism erupted. Up to that moment, I, like so many of my peers, had passed a long lifetime through what is often referred to as the golden age of diaspora Jewry in the false assumption, the delusion, that anti-Semitism of the depth and ferocity that produced the Holocaust was unthinkable ever again. I had, of course, long been aware of Christian Zionists and what I used to perceive as their benign but rather curious fascination with Israel. Before October 7th, I saw Christian Zionism as quite separate from, although running parallel to, Jewish Zionism. I felt, okay, they did their thing and we did our thing. But after October 7th, overwhelmed by the shock of our sudden Jewish isolation, my attitude changed. When I became aware of the disproportionate presence of ICEJ members at a Parliament Hill rally for Israel a few weeks after October 7th, the connection became personal and emotional. Israel was under siege and menace was in the air everywhere, but these good Christians had, without hesitation, stepped up as visible, prominently visible allies to Israel and Canadian Jews. It was a very clarifying moment for me. Since then, I came to understand that where Israel is concerned, Jews and Christian Zionists are not at all on parallel tracks. We are brothers and sisters in the same righteous cause. I think it is important to set the record straight on a common misconception about Christian Zionists. Some Jews I know are suspicious of them. They worry that Christians' devotion to Israel is grounded in what is known as supersessionism or replacement theology, the notion that at some future date God will transfer his covenant with the Jewish nation to Christians. That may have been the case in a now distant past, but Christian Zionism long ago evolved into what has been described as a theology of esteem, which recognizes Israel and the Jewish people as having ongoing significance in God's purpose, and the very opposite, in fact, to replacement theology. As Donna told me when I interviewed her for a column, she said, ICEJ is fully opposed to supersessionism. We regard it as antagonistic to the state of Israel and a form of anti-Semitism. We are Christian Zionists who fully support the Jewish right to their ancient homeland in their full identity as Jews. Gilad Erdan, Israel's former ambassador to the United Nations, told a gathering at the Israel Allies Foundation Gala Awards in Texas a few years ago that Christian Zionist organizations like ICEJ were, quote, Israel's Iron Dome of truth in Washington. For that, he said, the state of Israel could not be more grateful, and so say all of us. And now on to our program. Since October 7th, we have seen much of academia, NGOs, and the media embrace political mission over traditional standards of objectivity in the service of truth. It is the norm in these domains nowadays to ignore genocidal actions with deaths in the hundreds of thousands in other parts of the Middle East and in Africa, while abetting the spread of falsehoods and even blood libels against Israel that have in turn, purposefully or not, encouraged the rise of a hysterical brand of anti-Semitism in our universities and in our streets. One Canadian media company, Postmedia, has played a significant role in pushing back against this trend and setting the record straight. I consider myself one of the luckiest journalists in Canada to write for the National Post. So I add my thanks to those of CAEF for being tonight's media sponsor. And I invite you now to watch this brief video from National Post. Rabbi Pesach Wallachy, founder of Israel 365, stresses the following. The Jewish-Christian partnership is the most powerful force standing between civilization and chaos. To give us context for tonight's theme, we invite you to watch a short video from Reverend Majed El-Shafi, founder of One Free World International, who could not be with us tonight. Shafi's personal story features a dangerous journey from threats against his life in Egypt to freedom in Israel. For several decades, he has been pursuing justice for minorities worldwide. After October 7th, Reverend El-Shafi went on to Israel to bear witness to the pogrom, and in cooperation with director Chris Atkins, made the film Dying to Live, a testament to truth, to the strength of Israeli society, and to a righteous Christian's love and protective instinct toward Jews. Please watch the screen now.
Hi everybody, and thank you so much for having me in this important event. This event is very close to my heart for two main reasons. Number one, I'm honoring a very dear friend to my heart and a woman that I consider her like a family, Donna Holbrook. Since I arrived here to Canada as a newcomer 25 years ago, Donna was always there for me. She supported me. She was behind me to stand up on my feet as a young man. I don't believe without God in my life and Donna to receive me upon my arrival, I will be the same place where I am today. For that, I'm honored to be there to tell her that I love her and I'm proud of her. But the second reason that why this important event is close to my heart is the unity between our both communities. Today, in the middle of the rising of antisemitism around the world, today is the persecution of the Christians is taking place in more than 50 countries. We see that now, more than ever, the need for our unity and the need that we stand beside each other and we fight for justice. We have to understand that we're facing the same enemy. This enemy is the enemy of freedom, democracy, and freedom of religion. And we also have to understand that we are the solution. When you know the truth, you have two options: to become part of the problem or you become the heart of the solution. It is very important to know that our voice counts, not just by words but by action, to stand beside each other, to write our MPs, to understand the ideology of our enemy and to face it head on. Regardless what will happen tomorrow, there is one fact I know, and I know for sure, that our enemy have very strong army, have very strong weapon, but we have the Lord Almighty. I promise you that they can kill the believers, but they cannot kill the belief of our hearts. They can kill the dreamer, but no one can kill the dream. Thank you, and God bless.
We have an enhanced pleasure tonight in honoring Donna Holbrook, in that ICEJ is our presenting sponsor, as Andrea noted. This is truly a remarkable organization that both educates Christians about Israel and the Jewish people and empowers them to act. And their actions are amazing. Thousands of Christian Zionists have taken up the call in so many ways. And so, on behalf of CAEF and many Jewish organizations represented here, we express our sincerest gratitude to them and share the ICEJ story. Please watch the screen as we present the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem's work in Israel. The head office in Jerusalem kindly provided this video, which illuminates the tremendous scope of ICEJ Canada's powerful commitment and contribution to Israel.
After the October 7th attack and 2 years of war, Israel has shown the world that they are a courageous and resilient people that honor and choose life. One of the ways that Israelis choose life is by envisioning and creating a brighter future, even while there are still ruins to rebuild. The ICEJ is privileged to be a part of several projects to help renew or rebuild key areas in Israel's southern communities with special emphasis on trauma care. These projects include a former kindergarten in Kfar Aza that will become a trauma treatment center for children. The renovations began this summer and will be finished soon. A therapeutic music center, also located in Kfar Aza, will allow the community to support one another as they process grief and express hope for a brighter future together. The refurbished center is expected to be completed in 2026. In Kibbutz Be'eri, a youth activity center destroyed in battle on the 7th due to Hamas terrorists taking cover there, will be rebuilt with work beginning in November. Also in Be'eri, a social and rehabilitative center for the elderly, among those hardest hit on the 7th, is in the planning stages with work beginning later this year. In Kibbutz Urim, an animal therapy center that helps many children and adults processing trauma, will be relocated, expanded, and rebuilt, with new enclosures for small animals and a new and expanded riding area for the horses, and much more. In Stay Nitzan, an exciting new educational initiative is developing, encouraging young people to continue the agricultural legacy of southern Israel. A new school, now under construction, will teach the next generations how to blend agriculture and high-tech for sustainable food production and future farming. The ICEJ placed 3 large protective shelters next to a newly expanded resilience center in Sha'ar HaNegev that serves adults, kids, and groups needing trauma recovery. And in the coming months, the Sadot Negev Resilience Center will receive 2 additional large protective shelters, allowing the centers to open and provide vital care. We are also excited to partner with our friends at J&F Canada to renew Kibbutz Kisufim. Projects include renovating a youth center, a kindergarten, a community social club, and a healing center, as well as developing a new adventure park for children. These projects began over the summer and will be completed in the coming months. In the coming year, we are expanding this partnership to build an educational and therapeutic facility at the Israel Tennis and Education Center in Beersheba, as well as additional projects to renew Kibbutz Cholit. We're also working to repair the Canada Park from damage due to recent forest fires. It's because of projects like these that the people of Israel know that they are not alone as they walk through this difficult time to a new season of healing and restoration. We want to thank all our Jewish and Christian friends in Canada and around the world who are helping to make these projects possible. We are stronger together. Am Yisrael Chai.
We must recognize that there is a disturbing and too little covered surge in anti-Israel activity that is also targeting Christians and Christian churches, carried out not only by Islamist groups, but by broader ideological movements that weaponize Christian spaces for their anti-Zionist cause. Across Europe, there have been many instances of vandalism and desecration of Christian churches and threats against Christian communities, leading to blaming Israel or associating these communities with Israel. Here in Canada, pro-Palestinian groups exploit the truth and reconciliation process to promote the narrative of a symbiotic relationship between our Indigenous peoples and Palestinians. Lost in translation is the fact that history, archaeology, and even the United Nations' own criteria for indigeneity come down squarely on the side of Jews as the only extant Indigenous people of Israel. Although the media usually fails to cover them, Indigenous people in many parts of the world, millions of whom are Christians, recognize the Jews as indigenous to Israel and stand with them. Tonight, I want to acknowledge a great friend of Israel and ask him to stand and be recognized. Former chief of Iabamitong, got that wrong probably, First Nation and Grand Chief Emeritus of Nishnawbe Aski Nation, Harvey Yesno, is here. here from Thunder Bay. Thank you. Chief Harvey is also a member of the Indigenous Embassy Jerusalem, which is a fantastic embassy. I saw their opening 2-hour ceremony. It was just the most amazing congregation of Indigenous peoples from New Zealand and from Canada and from all over the place, song and dance and poetry, and it was the most joyous thing I've ever seen. It was beautiful. Chief Yesno participated in the annual Walk with Israel in 2024 and 25 and has defended Israel in the media and posted loving messages about Israel on social media. We thank him for all these acts of fellowship and we ask that he take our message of love and appreciation back to his people and to the incredible Indigenous Embassy Jerusalem. I also want to acknowledge the presence here tonight of 3 leaders of the Hindu community who stand in solidarity with the Jewish community. Rishab Sarswat, president of the Coalition of Hindus of North America. Dr. Ragini Sharma, president of the Canadian Organization of Hindu Heritage Education, and Vijay Jain, Director of Canadian Hindus for Harmony. Is he here? I would ask all 3 to please stand. I know you stood, but stand again. Please stand and be recognized as allies we cherish. Thank you. Thank you so much for your presence here tonight. So at this time, I'm happy to welcome a recent arrival from Israel, the new Deputy Consul General in Toronto and Western Canada, Anna Ben-Susan, who will join me on stage for greetings and a message about Israel and allyship.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and partners, shalom. It is truly an honor to be joining you this evening. I want to begin by expressing my deep appreciation to CAEF, the Canadian Antisemitism Education Foundation, for bringing us together. At a time when Jewish communities are facing unprecedented challenges, CAEF provides clarity, courage, and a moral compass. The State of Israel values your work immensely, and we're grateful for your continued support. Tonight, we also gather to recognize a remarkable woman, Donna Holbrook. Donna has been for decades one of the most steadfast champions of Israel and the Jewish people in Canada. Through her vision and leadership at ICEJ Canada, she has inspired thousands, strengthened Christian-Jewish solidarity, and built a powerful platform for truth and genuine love between our communities. She has organized countless missions to Israel, bringing Canadians to walk the streets of Jerusalem, to meet Israeli families, to understand their story through human connection. Those visits change people. They open hearts. Her unwavering support through not only visits to Israel, but through constant advocacy and through faith-driven commitment has touched countless lives. Donna, your dedication has been a source of light for this community, and it represents the very best of Canada's spirit of friendship. Thank you. But friends, we are gathered here not only to celebrate. We are here because the world around us has changed dramatically. Since October 7th, Jewish communities across Canada have experienced an alarming and painful surge in anti-Semitism. Jewish students have been intimidated on campuses. Synagogues and institutions have been targeted. Too many Jews feel unsafe wearing the Star of David in public or sending their children to Hebrew school. And perhaps most painful of all, we have seen the dehumanization of our people in moments when empathy should have been instinctive. For the families of the kidnapped, for the survivors of Hamas atrocities, for the Jewish children in Canada who watched the news on October 7th with fear they had never known. Too often, the compassion they deserved was replaced by silence, or worse. This is not the Canada we know, and it cannot and will not become the new normal. Anti-Semitism has always been more than hatred of Jews. It is a symptom of something deeper and more corrosive within a society. History teaches us that when anti-Semitism rises, it is never the final stop. It is the first warning sign. Hatred that begins with the Jewish community does not end there. It spreads and seeks to undermine the core values that define Western societies. This is why confronting anti-Semitism is not an act of communal defense. It is an act of national preservation. Yet, in the midst of this darkness, something profoundly important emerged, something that gives us strength and hope, true allyship, not symbolic gestures, not empty words without actions, but real, meaningful, courageous allyship. We saw it in interfaith partners who stood with the Jewish community, not because it was easy, but because it was right. In the Christian community leaders who spoke out clearly and said, anti-Semitism has no place in Canada. In educators, city councilors, and civic organizations who refused to allow hatred to go unchallenged. And we saw it in CAEF, whose work to educate and mobilize has been indispensable. For Israel, this allyship is not taken for granted. The safety and dignity of Jewish communities worldwide is not an abstract matter to us. It is a moral duty rooted in our history. When our friends stand with us, they reaffirm the values that bind our societies together: freedom, justice, and human dignity. And so tonight, as we honor Donna, and as we thank CAEF, and as we look ahead, I want to end on a note of optimism. Because despite the challenges, we have seen extraordinary moral courage. We have seen communities reach out to one another. We have seen Canadians from every background choosing solidarity over division. And with partners like CAEF, with leaders like Donna, and with friends like all of you, I have no doubt that we will meet this moment with strength, unity, and unwavering hope. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna, for that inspiring message. And again, welcome to Toronto. CAEF looks forward to many more opportunities for collaboration with the consulate. It is now my pleasure to invite you to watch a brief video tribute to our beloved Donna Holbrook from friends who know her from her many roles professionally and personally. So this is the first half of our video tribute.
Tonight we honor Donna Holbrook, the head of ICEJ, International Christian Embassy of Jerusalem. I've known her for almost 30 years, and she is a stalwart supporter of Israel. She passionately loves Jerusalem, prays for the peace of Jerusalem, and she works tirelessly through this organization as an activist, to garner support not only for Israel and Jerusalem, but for the Jewish people. You can find her at almost every event. She is tireless in her efforts. She is strong in her faith. She believes as a Christian that everything we have comes from the Jewish people. And Genesis 12:3 tells us that God will bless those who bless thee. God will bless those who bless Israel. And she knows this in her heart. And she leads many people to support Israel. She has taken so many people to Jerusalem, especially for the Feast of Tabernacles, and the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem is so powerful. Many people don't know, but one of the founders was from Toronto, and we thank God for that organization and the several decades of leading people, Christians specifically, in this quest to support Israel in their time of need. So today we celebrate Donna Holbrook, and I know you're all gathered there to do so. I wish I could have been with you, but I thank God for this great woman of faith, and I thank God for the ICEJ Canada, and we pray that it continues strongly to do its mission to lead people, especially Christians, to support Israel, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem as Scripture commands us, and to fight for peace and safety for the Jewish people in our midst in Canada. God bless you, Donna. God bless you for honoring her tonight.
Shalom from Jerusalem. Donna, you have been a good friend to Israel and to the Jewish people. You and your wonderful family have built a bulwark of support for Zionism and for Jewish safety against anti-Semitism. Your faith and the amazing grace of God have brought many Christians to a deeper understanding of the historic covenant of God with Abraham and the land of Israel. In Leviticus chapter 26 we read, "I shall remember my covenant with Jacob. I will remember my covenant with Isaac, also my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land." You, Donna, have helped people to remember that covenant. May God continue to bless you in the years ahead. Shalom.
Hi Donna, Shalom. Congratulations for the award that you're receiving today. Indeed, you have fostered closer relationship between the Jews and the Christians. Well, I've seen it through the years. I've known you for many, many years when you were still starting in the ICEJ. But see what you have done. Even to this day, I could see the work that you've done. I am here in Israel now, and I'm in Serdot. And even the work that you do, well, reach this place. And they're grateful for ICEJ for the works that you've been doing over there in Canada, and of course ICEJ worldwide. And so again, congratulations. You are the very deserving of this award. God bless. You know what the Bible says? Well, God is not unjust to forget the work that you do for His people. He will reward you fully. And so be blessed, Donna. God bless.
Donna, congratulations on this most wonderful honor, well-deserved honor. We want to thank you for your continued many, many years of friendship and your continued friendship to the State of Israel. Wishing you continued success. Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
I've worked with Donna for over a decade. Her dedication to Israel and the Jewish people as a calling has remained true and unblemished. She is unbudged by anything or anyone that may distract her. This attests to her focus in her calling, the genuineness of her heart, and her sheer will in staying the course of what has always been to her a true calling. I greatly admire Donna's pure dedication to fighting anti-Semitism through her prayers, her comfort, and her tangible giving. No deeply worthy cause is without testing, and I have witnessed Donna weather harsh testing in a spirit of quiet determination. It speaks to those who share the same desire to stand with Israel and the Jewish people. And it is a message of selflessness in a world where this attribute is rare. I congratulate Donna in admiration for a work well deserving of the Special Award of Excellence by the Canadian Antisemitism Education Foundation. May you go forward, Donna, my friend, from strength to strength.
Dear Donna and dear friends, on behalf of the kibbutz, the community of Israeli medical fellows, researchers, and their families who came over the last 15 years to train and bring back better health to Israel, we want to say a huge thank you.
Thanks to you, we came together to celebrate holidays, send children to Hebrew classes, Jewish camps, mark milestones, and much more. And when October 7th struck, you stood with us as always. Your strength helped our community to thrive and build a home away from home.
Toda rabba from the bottom of our hearts, from all of us, the kibbutznikim in Toronto, and us, Liraz and Asaf, the leaders of the kibbutz.
Wishing you great health, strength, and happiness, and many more years of inspiring, enlightening hearts, and building bridges just as you've done for all of us.
Thank you.
I'm sure you enjoyed those beautiful tributes, and there will be more to come. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Jono Lightstone and Brian Katz, two of Toronto's finest klezmer, jazz, and classical musicians. Jono has a passion for klezmer and is the leader of the Yiddish Swingtet, a trio whose music runs the gamut from traditional Eastern European klezmer to American jazz and swing. He founded Hutzatza, a traditional klezmer group with a chamber music aesthetic, and has performed klezmer music to the R&B grooves of Matzo Ball Gumbo. Jono has a master's degree in ethnomusicology, teaches music, and has coached award-winning musicians. Brian Katz, equally talented, famed jazz and Jewish music artist, plays guitar, piano, and vocals. At the University of Toronto and York, Brian teaches both jazz and classical and is known for his improvisation and composing, blending music and movement. Please welcome Jono Lightstone and Brian Katz.
Thank you so much. We're going to begin with a piece that's called Mazel Tov. And with a title like that, well, of course, you'd think that this was a dance song, but this is almost like Baroque Jewish music. You'll see what I mean. Okay, we're going to change gears a little bit now, and we're going to go out into South America. This is a song called Samba de Orfeo, and it's a wonderful dance song that's just full of life and energy. So we're going to finish off our little interlude here with a couple of up-tempo dance numbers. This is the kind of thing, if you went to a Jewish wedding, this is what you'd be dancing to. A couple of klezmer tunes. The first is called the Odessa Bulgarisch. Sorry, no, we're going to do a different tune. We could do that one. No, we're going to do a Nacht in Gan Eden. And then Bulgar a la Naftuli. This is a song that was played by the great klezmer clarinetist Naftuli Brandwein.
That was terrific. Thanks, Jono and Brian. That was a nice interlude, enlivening the program, and I think love the joy that you express in your music. That was a great choice of pieces. And you can see more of Jono and Brian online and in person. You find out more about them if you want to see them again. And now, please look at the screen again for further messages to Donna and pay close attention to the speakers because there's a few surprises for you.
I'm in studio doing some work for our voiceover for the Inside Israel television program, which is seen weekly here in Canada. And I just wanted to take a quick couple of minutes to congratulate Donna on this outstanding achievement, the award that you are providing for her in recognition of the many achievements which she has had over the years and significant contributions to the Jewish community, both locally, nationally, and internationally, as well as to the state of Israel itself. As the Canadian ambassador at large for Canada, I want to also, on behalf of the dozens of representatives we have across the country and also the hundreds of supporters of ICEJ from coast to coast, I want to give a huge shout out to Andrea Spindell. Thank you, Andrea, and CAEF and the other organizations for this special opportunity of honoring someone whom we cherish as our National Executive Director and as our friend. Donna is a wonderful friend, a great co-worker in the stated cause of comfort ye, my people. And I could not be more proud of her recognition at this time for the significant efforts which she has made over 25 years of working with the Jewish community and raising multiplied millions of dollars in support of various projects in Israel. And I'm going to take just a moment to highlight a few of these. The Haifa Home for Holocaust Survivors, which is 13 homes up in the Haifa area. Yad Vashem, Magan David Adam, bomb shelters across the country, many bomb shelters, trees planted in the Canada Park. And one of the great things was purchasing communication devices for the kibbutzim, which provided security for over 3,000 lives, which could have been lost during the events of October the 7th. One of our favorites is providing some horses and smaller animals recently for a petting farm for rehabilitation following the tragic events of October 7th for both children and adults. Donna has made about 50 trips to Israel, taking with her hundreds of pilgrims, and she has led these across Israel, and particularly to the Feast of Tabernacles annual event, where we have had as many as 6,000 to 7,000 pilgrims in attendance. And one of the highlights of that event is our annual trip march through Jerusalem with people in full national costume from the countries which they have come from, often representing as many as over 100 countries. And this is a great highlight for the pilgrims themselves as well as for the citizens of Jerusalem. Our congratulations, Donna. All of us at ICEJ are extremely proud of you and grateful to God for your continuing contributions on behalf of the people of Israel, the Jewish people, and to the commitment which you have made to God's chosen people. May God continue to bless and keep you and use you in even greater ways in the days ahead. Congratulations.
Psalm 91, verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrows flying by day. This is a curious verse and seems on the surface somewhat unrealistic. It is written as an imperative, a commandment not to be afraid, But fear is an emotion, and by what power is the author of this psalm assured that this impossible demand will be followed? The work of Donna Holbrook and ICEJ Canada is their response to this riddle. Donna's life mission has been taking away the fear of the terror and the arrows through life-saving enterprises. The many Life Shield shelters deployed in Israel, especially in the northern Galilee and the southern border towns near Gaza, have literally protected the lives of hundreds of children, elderly, and families from rocket attacks. And ICEJ's generosity has brought comfort and peace of mind, knowing that an accessible bomb shelter is always close by in Israel. Donna, I am grateful to you as a partner in this work and as a close friend. Your shining face always lights up a room, and when you're in Jerusalem, you bring an extra portion of warmth and joy. Mazel tov on the CAEF Advocate Award of Excellence. Sending my love to you and the ICEJ team from Israel. I hope to see you here soon.
I am delighted that Donna is being honored by CAEF. Donna and I go way back to when I became involved in advocacy in 2001. Donna took over ICEJ around the same time. In the beginning, Donna appeared quiet while learning about her new role. Who knew that Donna would become the dynamo that she is today, helping Jewish people in need, helping Israelis, helping Jews from other countries coming to Israel, helping Holocaust survivors, and helping Israelis big time when Israel was being attacked by Arab terrorists, helping Rabbi Shmuel Bowman providing bomb shelters throughout Israel. I think that one of Donna's biggest accomplishments is encouraging thousands of Christians across Canada and throughout the world to attend the Feast of Tabernacles in Israel every year around Sukkot. Such organizing and planning on a grand scale, and she has raised large sums of money for different Israeli causes. And she does it all with class, elegance, and a smile. In fact, Donna is an elegant lady and so knowledgeable and spiritual with a deep belief in Hashem. So it is my honor and pleasure to support Donna. You are the best, Donna. Thank you for all that you do.
I am so incredibly proud of my mom for getting this award, and it is so, so well deserved. Ever since I can remember, she has been a friend, advocate, ally of Israel, the Jewish people, and against anti-Semitism. She has been unwavering in her support. She has been loud. She has made movements. She has been a part of countless aid projects, educational speaking events, tours. The amount of ideas that she has brought to the table that has come to life in support of Israel and against anti-Semitism is really unbelievable. She is a real role model, and I am so proud, of her. And I wish I had more time, but I love you so much, Mom, and congratulations.
Dear Donna Holbrook, congratulations here from Jerusalem for the Advocacy Award of Excellency in 2025. And honestly, there is no better person in Canada I could imagine to receive this award than you. In a time when darkness is rising again over many countries, and the voice of anti-Semitism is being heard again in historic heights in the streets, not only in Canada but around the world, your voice gives hope to the people of Israel, to the Jewish people in Canada, but also it gives moral leadership to the entire nation of Canada. And therefore, congratulations, dear Donna Holbrook, for receiving this award. We stand with you, we celebrate with you here in Jerusalem. Let me salute you for your amazing work, and greetings and shalom here from ICEJ in Jerusalem. God bless you.
Shalom, dear friends, from the President's residence in Jerusalem. It gives me great pleasure to join you at CAEF, C-A-E-F, as you gather together to honor a remarkable person, Donna Holbrook, and honor her contributions to the critical cause she has placed at the center of her life. Dear Donna, for so many years now, your heart has led the way, paving your path to a life's calling that goes to the heart of a story between people and peoples. And so many years, you have been a global voice of Christian friendship, solidarity, and action for Israel. You brought people to Israel with open eyes and open hearts. You helped them encounter this land, not as an abstraction, but as the truth, a living, breathing reality, as part of a larger moral effort to repair, educate, and heal the world. In our darkest hour, you've risen up and helped so many find their own voices. To state loudly and clearly, we stand with the state of Israel. We stand with the people of Israel and with the Holy City. Across the globe, you've stood up to anti-Semitism, countering lies and libels, spreading the right truth about the Jewish state, and praying and fighting for our hostages. And as the flames of anti-Semitism flare again, unfortunately, on city streets, on college campuses, in virtual spaces, you're part of a human movement that challenges and says no, insisting through clear ethical intuitions that compassion is louder. So may I wish you, dear Donna, success in all your endeavors, good health, and may you go from strength to strength. Bless you, our friend Donna.
Wow. Yeah. That was amazing. Okay, but we're not done. Now we turn to the highlight of the evening, the presentation, the actual presentation of the Advocate Award of Excellence to our honoree and special guest, Donna Holbrook. And to do the honors, I invite Dr. Jacques Gauthier to the stage. Jacques is an international lawyer and a leading scholar regarding sovereignty over Jerusalem and its old city. More than 20 years of exhaustive research culminated in his doctorate from the University of Geneva in 2007, which focused on the competing claims to the city of Jerusalem under international law. And in addition to practicing law for more than 40 years and his dedication to his family, Jacques has been devoted to proving the legitimacy of the Jewish claim to Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria. Yes. I had the pleasure of attending a presentation by Jacques at my synagogue in Montreal a year or so ago to a full house of attendees, all of whom were riveted to his every word. His presentation is mesmerizing. And if the same opportunity ever comes your way, don't miss it. It's a tour de force. So Jacques, another treasured Christian ally, is also a member of the board of the Jerusalem Foundation of Canada and was the first recipient of the CAEF Advocate Award of Excellence. So, welcome.
It is so good to be here tonight. This is family. Donna. You know, when I was asked if I could be a part of this evening, it took me about half a second to say I could be honored by nothing else than just to be in the same room as my friend Donna. See, the interesting thing is, I was the first recipient, an advocate, concerned about anti-Semitism, concerned about historic justice for the cause of Zion. And then I was able to hand over the second award to another jurist by the name of Brooke Goldstein. So far, 2 lawyers. And those 2 were followed by Barbara Kay and someone that many of you know well because he was the 4th recipient, Rob Roberts, the editor-in-chief of the National Post. So the first 2 jurists, the next 2 have golden pens, and when they write, they're earthquakes. They are indeed incredible advocates through their giftings in journalism. And then tonight, number 5, we get to you, Donna. I think it would be appropriate for someone to write a book called The Acts of Donna Holbrook. I've been a witness, Donna, for over 25 years too. And you being who you are very often, you pulled me in so that I could be part of what you were doing. I believe 20 years ago I was on your board. I was providing legal advice. How amazing the experience. And then I would go to Jerusalem, and guess who would be there in the center of everything that was happening? It would be you again. And somebody mentioned the march through the streets of Jerusalem and the fact that there are so many nations represented marching and embracing and being embraced by the people of Jerusalem, bringing hope, bringing life. And at the head of the Canadian delegation was this incredible creature all decked up in the RCMP outfit. This is a true story. I'm not going to mislead you about anything tonight. The hat, the red, and you stood out because the message you sent and your humility and your love impacted many. And then I think back of 2014 when we were both invited to join Stephen Harper on his official visit to Israel. And there were a lot of politicians, a lot of important people, and I've been interacted, for years I've been involved in these milieux. And then we'd go to a reception somewhere and I'd stand with you and people would come towards, and then they'd talk to you all the time. You are so appreciated in so many realms. And so back to being an advocate. What you've done, your consistency, your steadfastness, and the way you do it with smile and grace has impacted so many. And I must say that some of us who are Christians, we wrestle with history. We're burdened when we think of what Christians have done to Jews over the centuries. How can we possibly compensate? How can we possibly encourage you by saying, it's not all Christians? Then you get Donna. And year after year after year, whether it's in Jerusalem or it's here, being involved in so many different things. You're truly a shining light in times that have been referred to as times of darkness. But light is more apparent and forceful when it's dark. So thank you, thank you, thank you. What a privilege to be your friend and to be able to do this tonight. And truly, you are an advocate through what you do. You deserve this award. You merit the award. And I'm just thankful that we have you, and I'm just hoping you'll find a way to photocopy yourself so that others can continue to do that. So I'm going to invite Barbara, and I'm going to invite Rob, 3 of the recipients, to stand with me as the award is given. And whatever I've done, I can tell you that without my wife and my daughters, it wouldn't have happened. So I know the impact of daughters, and I'm going to ask Meredith if she would also come. To stand by her mother as she has done for so many years. Okay. So Donna, it's such a great privilege and an honor and blessing to be with you, to recognize you as an amazing advocate for the cause of Zion, against anti-Semitism, things that matter to all of us here. This is so well deserved. And as I'll say this, as references have been made to Donna's faith, I would say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Well, good evening, friends. There's really nothing better to being with your friends and to be able to talk about Israel. So this is my moment. Really, really happy about it. And Jacques' words were very, very glowing, and everyone who presented. So, dear Andrea and CAEF, I am very honored and humbled to receive the award tonight from my dear friends and co-laborers for Zion. I see honored before me great and courageous authors, lawyers, journalists, and Jacques Gauthier, Barbara Kay, and Rob Roberts, with Brian Lilly, my friendly interrogator. I don't stand in your class, but alongside it somehow in our pursuit for truth and righteousness. I'm thankful for God has placed me with you, many of the nicest people I've come to know for a common purpose. There are 3 great Bible verses in Proverbs, whereby Proverbs 21:21 states, "Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness and honor." In Proverbs 22:4, it says, "The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life." Can you please help me with Proverbs 11:16, which states, "A gracious woman gets honor and violent men get riches"? You will hear tonight how my path was redirected from my earlier professions and interests. I'm delighted to tell you that one of my very first connections with Toronto's Jewish community was Shirley Ann Haber. And the media action groups. So that was 25 years ago when I took on ICEJ Canada with no funds, no charitable status, an out-of-date mailing list, and just me at the computer trying to make sense of the new community I had come to know and love. I knew from the content that I had to, in here, getting emails from Shirley, I knew I had to meet Shirley Ann. I contacted her for a coffee and a bagel at Bayview Village. She agreed. The steady, impressive work of CAEF, Canadian Antisemitism Education Foundation, and the umbrella for these action groups is dedicated to promoting tolerance and understanding, and it's a stellar model for us all. You provide the highest level of education, educators, webinars, lunch and learn in shoals and boardrooms with delicious tuna bagels, by the way, and cheerful volunteers. We love the Habers. Harvey with a ready camera and glossy photos in the mail, now at the remarkable age of 90. Where are you, Harvey? Mazel tov, Harvey. We equally embrace Andrea Spindle as Executive Director and dear friend. There are more in this great team, and we thank you all for your dedication and service. So during my early reign as director of ICEJ Canada, I also came to know Jacques, this French lawyer at Bloor and Bay, who had helped with the earlier projects of ICEJ Canada, even Apples of Gold with the Rawlings at the Roy Thompson Hall. He came on our board, gave advice, and hosted Ari Green of Media Central in his boardroom for us. He was distracted by his theses on the sovereignty of Jerusalem, and as an international legal expert on Israel's rights, he presented at many shoals abroad, plus our ICJ Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem. This was a new world I was embracing, following my first Israel experience in 1996. On my return, I was a sponge for everything Jewish. Toronto's Jewish community was now my Israel. I was home. My PowerPoint presentation of 100 slides, which was just on earlier, we hope to bring it back up, was created for tonight with the hope of helping you to see the extent and variety of my journey with ICEJ Canada and Jerusalem over those 25 years. There's more, but this should suffice to give you an overview of the range, variety, and flow of Christian and Jewish relations between Canada and Israel. Part of my unique experience was serving on several Jewish boards. The longest served one was the Canada-Israel Committee for 7 years, before it became CAEF, the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. The reason I bring this up is I believe I was the first evangelical Christian woman to serve on a principally Jewish board. Now, one of our other members, we have Michael Diamond here, was on that board as well, but Stephen Lippard, do you remember Stephen in Montreal? We've been in touch. And he remembered when we met, and he said you were the first non-Jew on the board. I believe the year was 2004 when I received a warm letter concerning my new position from the youngest MP in Parliament. I would like to read to you. Donna, it was good to finally make your acquaintance. I have heard so much about you. It is a true inspiration to see the Christian community rallying to the cause of Israel. And I'm very pleased to learn of your successful work as part of the Canada-Israel Committee. Please feel free to contact me at any time, as I am a devout supporter of the cause and would be delighted to partake in any activities that support it. Thank you, be well, and it was great once again to meet you in person. Yours truly, Pierre Polyev. Thank you. Thank you.
Donna will now be joined on stage for a conversation with seasoned journalist Brian Lilly. Brian is the provincial and national political affairs columnist for the Toronto Sun. A self-declared Zionist, Brian traveled to Israel in 2024, correct? Yes. We thank him for his support and the excellence he exhibits in his craft. So, over to you.
It's a pleasure to meet you in person. Tonight's the first time I got to meet Donna in person.
More of a pleasure for me.
So, for people that aren't familiar with the mission, the purpose behind ICEJ International, what is it? Why does it exist?
It's a very interesting story that goes back 45 years ago. I wasn't involved then. I'm not that old. But
you were but a babe at the time.
back in 1979-80, there was a proclamation made by the Knesset that proclaimed that Jerusalem was the undivided eternal capital of the Jewish people.
Can you hold up your mic just a little bit closer?
So that was almost immediately met by an Arab oil embargo. You might say we were birthed through a boycott. 13 of the embassies from Jerusalem moved to Tel Aviv. Christians, and I like to say, and Jacques alluded to it, was Mervyn Merle-Watson, Canadian Christians, worship leaders, musicians, violinists, composers. They were at Christ Church inside Jaffa Gate on 1979, doing the Feast of Tabernacles around the walls. And they decided that something had to be done. There had to be a representation from Christians to stand with Israel from her capital. Hence, the International Christian Embassy was founded in 1980. And Teddy Kollek, the favored mayor, he said that he thought this is one of the purest acts he has seen in Israel. The city embraced it. They located a room and a half for us in a municipal building in Jerusalem. And immediately we were invited into the Jerusalem March. It's a civic march. It happens every year. And we were invited in from the nations. You should see us. We're really colorful. We're wearing our costumes. That's how I put together the Mountie outfit. It wasn't for me. It was for the former director, but I wound up wearing it. And our friend Majid El-Shafi, he was in the Toronto Star, and he got his friend from the report. He says, Donna's in town. She's in Jerusalem. Catch her. She's in their Mountie outfit. And if you go out to the hall, you will see me in that Mountie outfit in the early days when we needed a way of presenting Canada. So that was my answer.
Everyone knows a Mountie.
Yes.
But how did you get involved? Did you grow up experiencing, knowing the Jewish community here in Toronto? Was it that trip to Israel in, I think you said 1996? Mm-hmm. Because it's not just, you do some work with them. This is a vocation.
It is, and it was.
And it's your spiritual home as well.
You don't study to do this. It was very much, the whole thing between the forming of the embassy was God-inspired through the Watsons and through others who recognized that it needed to happen. It was good. It needed to happen, and it did. For me, it's a God story as well. I didn't know I was heading this way. It's God intercepts your life, and he did. Lovely Meredith, who you've met here, was 3.5 when we gave birth to our son Jeremy. And I have to tell you this part, even though it's not a good part, it's an essential part to it. I went in on August the 11th for delivery with Jeremy, and he went in distress. And it was at that time Richard went for a coffee. And I said I would go in for a C-section, but I said, Lord, I don't know what's happening, but we are yours. Immediately, the emergency ended. Jeremy was birthed naturally, but he only lived 3 weeks. He had an enlarged heart. He couldn't thrive. He wasn't like Meredith, who could thrive. He didn't. So that changed our whole life. But it was God intercepted it. And so I went searching more about God. What did he want? What did he want me to do? What was I to do? And we have lovely Nanette here, Meredith's nanny, who helped us for 2 years during those tough times while we were dealing with our loss. So I went deeper seeking for God. And Aunt Harriet, who served on the board of the Canadian Friends of ICEJ, said to me, Donna, I think it's time for you to go to Israel. That was 1996, Sukkot. So I went, and I fell in love. And I said, however way you want to use me, Lord. You know, I've been a teacher. Ann and I, my friend Ann, we were the Gentile girls in the Shmata business. We were at the Royal York. We were in the garment trade, and we did that. And I left that after 7 years in order to be a home mom. I loved having little Meredith. And then Jeremy. It was a nursery that we never completed. We had to break it down. So I trusted the Lord. I went deeper, and I met wonderful people in Jerusalem. Our embassy has about 40, 50 on staff and volunteers, speaking about 12 different languages, and I got to meet them from about 100 different nations. It's a wonderful experience. It was a whole new world. And so I came back, and I said, okay, well, I love to network. I love bringing people together, and I have the ability to host. And I also like to do a little marketing, and I'm a visionary. I have many, I guess, God-inspired thoughts about how can we make this better for Israel? How can we bring Christians and Jews together in a safe way and in a way that's productive? And so I came back, and I started to host different speakers, wonderful Christian speakers in our own. I've had many. I've done programs for our executive director, Reverend Malcolm Heading. We had Randall Smith, Dr. Smith, and so many others, Dr. Susanna Kokanen.
Do you primarily do outreach? Because you're talking about networking, and I know you do a lot of building coalitions. What coalition are you trying to build? Are you trying to reach out to Christians to help them understand the place of Israel, or are you reaching out to the Jewish community?
It's everything. It's everything. And for me, I took Hebrew when I came back. So I was at the Zionist Center with Yosef Klinger, learning how to speak Hebrew within 6 weeks and write it. And so it was a Friday, and I'd go across the road to where the kosher chickens were cooking, and I'd get a Shabbat Shalom to me. And, you know, I was home. I felt welcomed, because the Jewish community is amazing, and this is my Israel. I couldn't always get to Israel. I usually do once or twice a year. That's how I get up to 50 trips, and being on the boards as well. So that was home for me. So the Jewish community, I wanted to know everything about them. I went and attended the speakers. I love how the Jewish people are with one another. They're quite frank. If they don't like something, they say it. I mean, it's quite honest and it's warm.
Never noticed.
You know where you stand. And for me, the hard part really is, I think, the Christians. It wasn't, you can see here today, you can see the audience is primarily Jewish, because this is where I have spent a lot of time. The tougher ground is in the churches, because they don't have an understanding, a biblical understanding, a full one of what God is doing through Israel. And when Israel was formed in 48, and birthed in 48, aren't you glad that Ben Gurion wasn't a procrastinist? I mean, really, if you thought, oh no, let's do it tomorrow, okay? Maybe they'll like us tomorrow. No, he did it on the 14th. And he had the determination, obviously, with the state, to form it. And they weren't equipped. They came out of the Holocaust. They didn't have the equipment against 5 Arab nations. And yet they did it. So that piqued the interest of Christians, was they saw what was in the Bible actually coming to life. And then again in 67, Jerusalem. Jacques, you could speak to that. What's happening in Israel? I mean, the odds were all against them. And yet they took Jerusalem finally. It was theirs. It was meant to be theirs.
So you say that churches are harder to reach out to. What about younger people today? Because we're, kids on TikTok, kids on Instagram, the algorithm is feeding. We've seen in the United States where just recently, big youth movement in the United States, part of it being torn apart over Israel. How is it reaching out to young people?
Well, we had a plan for that, and we implemented it in 2007 because I saw that there was a need. So we put some money behind it, and we have it now called as the CISL, Canada-Israel Scholarship of Young Christian Adults, Leaders for Leaders. And I saw that you could be a youth leader and read from your Bible, teach from your Bible, and never be in the land of the Bible. How could that be? Like, how could you do all that and not come to Israel? So we changed that, and we started our scholarship in 2008, and we identified, actually it was CIC that helped with this because they were also interested, so we did the whole program, we implemented it, because they had funding for missions, and one was dedicated to young adults, Christian. So we did it. When we went to the more evangelical Christian colleges across Canada, because we had to get a quicker response, and we found 6, we sent them off, and they come back. Now I have to tell you, we've done this about close to 50 times, and I can guarantee you that it changes the perspective and the life decisions of those young people. They're 18 to 32, say. And they hear it more clearly. It's a closer call, to hear from God when you're in the land than across in Canada. And they come back knowing more clearly what they're here to do, and they make decisions for their wonderful spouse, and they have kids, and they have a family. The difficulty here for us is to keep in a connection with these young adults. Because their lives get busy. They can also move out of the province, but they're across Canada. So we have a goal of trying to reach those earlier ones. But we do have an envision annual conference in Jerusalem called Envision in early February, and we are looking now to put some funding into helping young pastors get to Israel, to be trained up, to do the tours, to go to the South, to see what's happening in our rebuilding and restoring, and to see the actual effects of what Israel's dealing with. They don't have a perception. Also trying to get into Twitter, Instagram, finding those ways. We're looking at every aspect of how to reach Christians. I'm trying to find Canadian Christian Zionists. If you can help me, please let me know, because we'll put all our energy into it because we want to draw them to us. It's because we have one of the largest reaching Christian Zionist ministries in the world. We're in about a reach of about 140, 97 with formal representation. And there's our wonderful Kelly. She didn't know that was going to be up there. 15 years of slugging it out with me.
But it's important to get them there because, as a Christian, I don't know how you can walk the streets of Jerusalem or the hills of Galilee and not be changed. Or Rob and I walked the kibbutzim that were hit on October 7th and stood in horror. And that was life-changing as well. But let me ask you about that. How did October 7th change your mission at ICEJ?
I would say it didn't change it. It greatly intensified it. We happened to be in Israel on October 5th in the Be'eri kibbutz. Some of you know that already.
You were in Barrie 2 days before.
What were we doing there? We were planting trees in the Barrie forest with KKL-JNF. We had a delegation of about 650. We had about 2,000 pilgrims for the Feast of Tabernacles. Some were touring. The feast was coming to an end. And so we just had more of a delegation of our directors from the countries go. We were met by Yuri Lipstein, the mayor of Ha-Negev. He welcomed us there. He was killed 2 days later defending his community. And we made a point that he welcomed us back, and we made sure that we went back and we went to the south. Our flight on Air Canada, possibly their last direct flight in 2 years, was on the 7th. We were heading to the airport, and the bellowing smoke from Gaza, you could see it clearly. And we've been there through every kind of conflict. And people will look at it like, what are you doing here? We'd have seniors coming all the way from, Yukon and Vancouver. And like, why aren't you, putting your money into Florida? They were very impressed by the fact that we spent money to be with them even in their times of conflict, which was often, like, aren't you afraid to go to Israel? No. Actually, Michael and I were there with Avi Dichter overlooking the Gaza outlook when we came under terrorist attack with the CIC board. There were about 13 of us. We were on the hill. It was the Friday, late morning, clear day, and Avi Dichter said, "Oh, it's unusually clear today. We can see Gaza City as we're at the top of this hill." And he said, "Now, just in case anything should happen, hit the ground." Right then was when we were targeted. It was an automatic, what would you call it, Mike? Automatic fire. It peppered across the hill. It hit Maddie, Avi Dichter's guide or security. He's okay. But we were up there and we saw and we experienced within that short period what Israel lives under. just that brief time, the terror and the possibility of losing your life. I mean, we were going to Sderot. They were under attack all the time. We know of the incendiary balloons and kites that they send. We were sending, you'll see it up here where we help with fire trailers to help the farmers put out the fires right away. It's their crop. I mean, so the press got on us. I have probably 30 reports from all over the world that were covering it. Were we Jewish? Were we not Jewish? Were we Christian Jewish? And the Toronto Star interviewed me to see, well, no one left. I mean, we were shocked, absolutely. This is not a common thing. But probably crossing the street out here is more dangerous than being shot on the hill overlooking Gaza. But it happened, and some of the guys there would say, oh, I've had this shot, I've been hit here, but here, like they were. So it took us about an hour to get off the hill, and then we went. So then we went back to our room. It was at Carleton at the north end of the Mediterranean, and we were supposed to meet with some kind of therapy psychologist or something to help us through the trauma. We just said, where's the scotch? We went back to our room. And we showed up for the shul, the synagogue, at the hotel, and we had dinner. And we got over it, and we announced to the world, listen, this is what Israel's under.
Well, I'm sure many of you saw The Road Between Us when it came out. One of the people that Rob and I sat and spoke to was Noam T-Baum's son. He writes for Haaretz, lived in a kibbutz in the South End. That's who Noam was going to save. And he was sitting talking to us, and he said, my 4-year-old daughter shouldn't know what to do when a siren goes off.
Yeah.
And so I do want to ask you, we're probably getting short on time, so I'll just ask you about building coalitions with other groups. I know you told me there's a big meeting coming up in Washington, and you want to bring these different groups together.
We have to. Now, since October 7th, many new Jewish groups have been founded. And I think what we need, and they do great work, like Tafsik, for instance, amazing work. There are many women against anti-Semitism. I mean, there's many. I can't even name all the names. But it's time that we as Christians and Jews, listen, there was a time, we had an event here at the shul here with Rav Baruch, who's here. And I had brought Malcolm Henning, and I wanted to open up to the Jewish community. Anything you want to know about evangelical Christians, come on out. And Malcolm and Rabbi Freeman Cole had a wonderful discussion. We had music. We had this chapel next door, and we filled up all the aisles. It was packed. And the consulate came, leaders from the Christian Jewish community. And there was a time when you couldn't invite Jews to a church. And we did the covenant. Oh, please help yourself to the covenant. It's a DVD, if you remember what those are. And we have it online. So that you'll be able to download the story of the Jewish people from the call of Abraham to the modern state of Israel. So it's an hour-and-a-half musical going through David. Does anyone know this? We did it at the Toronto Centre for the Arts in 2007, and we did it in high definition. At the same time, we broadcast it across Canada in 8 different venues. The reason I also bring that up is I wanted it to be not a church, not a shul, but somewhere neutral, a cinema where anyone could feel comfortable and buy a ticket. And Ron Grainer, a producer, I gave him a copy, and he said, with much skepticism, I took it. Because with skepticism, you're Christian and I'm Jewish, and you're telling me my story. We had 60 on stage internationally. It was beautiful, from Ruth and Naomi and Esther and into Europe during the Holocaust he said, I've never seen so many 60 on stage from infant to elderly, who was Naomi, with so many different changes in costumes and scenes. So you go from biblical up to modern in an hour and a half. And that was created by the Norwegian Christian couple, the Murans. And so we saw an opportunity to stage it here. It was Mother's Day. We had 1,300 come out in the afternoon for a matinee, and then 1,300 in the evening, broadcast live from Halifax to Vancouver. It was quite a production, and thanks to Crossroads, they brought in their cameras, a lot of complimentary effort to make that work. So I think we've gone beyond being a little nervous about one another and each other's company. Interfaith Bridges here, they've done amazing work, Christian, Jewish. We can be in a church, we can be in a shul, and I think people are now willing to meet wherever they have to meet for the benefit of Zion and for the safety of the Jewish community. I think we're over that hurdle, and I think it's time. On one of my last slides here, I just received it from my cohort, who is Dr. Susan Michael, is the US, ICEJ US director. She helped with money, and she co-founded the ILCA, American Leaders Christian ALIC coalition, I guess. And so they've come together now with Israelis who have formed, I have to think about it, it's Judeo-Christian Zionist Congress. It's much more powerful, but the ILC has now 3,000 leaders. We need to do this here. And we're talking about it now with specific leaders to say, how do we bring all of us together for the peace of Jerusalem, safety of Israel, and for this Jewish community, because we must.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian and Donna. That was a great conversation. I thought it ended on a really strong note, and thanks so much. So this has been a very full program, and to bring our evening to a conclusion, I invite Michael Tepper, President of the Canadian Antisemitism Education Foundation, to the stage.
Today, being the National Day of Thanksgiving for our friends south of the border, I'd like to start by giving some thanks. And first, I'd like to thank Dr. Gauthier, our Deputy Consul, and Brian Lilly, and everyone who was a speaker tonight. But most of all, I'd like to call back Barbara to the stage and to offer some thanks to you. Of course it wasn't expected. I'd like to thank you for acting so ably as tonight's hostess and interlocutor, and for your incredible journalism. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Stop right here. I don't know who drafted this speech. Your journalism is not incredible. It's highly credible and an exemplar of integrity, and your reporting has taken the fight against extremism to a whole new level. Thank you, Barbara. I truly encourage everyone to support our media sponsor, the National Post. Hey, I've got a subscription as one of the only media voices of reason, bravely fighting a communication war against evil by calling it out, naming it, educating Canadians to think, question, and raise issues in the public square. Praises and kudos to Rob Roberts, the editor-in-chief of the Post, for leading the team that does this work so well, and to Barbara once again for being the journalist extraordinaire. We thank again Brian Lilly for his compassionate interview and his commitment to integrity in the media. So at this point, I want to inform you that as the president of the Canadian Anti-Semitism Education Foundation, I get to preside and look important. But I don't have to do the real work of putting together this evening's event. Trust me, I would just mess it up if I tried. So there are certain people in this hall who did perform all the real work. And if you are in the room, I would like you to please rise and receive congratulations. I want to single out some of you. Carrie Katz, Rose Baum, Avi Atali, Irving Weisdorf, Daryl Bonder, Shirley Ann Haber, Anita Bromberg, Rachel Katz, Andrea Spindell, and most of all, a special round of applause for Daphne Pollock for organizing the volunteer team for this evening. And tremendous thanks to the other volunteers, and if I have inadvertently failed to mention anyone who has contributed, that's my fault alone. And now a final few words about the Canadian Anti-Semitism Education and Foundation and what we do, other than organize and produce and promote fabulous events like this one. We punch above our weight in areas of advocacy, information gathering, and open source investigation, community impact statements in criminal sentencing hearings in both the provincial and superior courts, and what I would call professional misconduct private prosecutions. For example, over the past 4 years, we have initiated over 30 complaints to the Ontario College of Teachers and other complaints to the Professional Engineers of Ontario, the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency of Ontario, and several health professions regulatory boards. We've scored notable victories, including recently a license revocation and a compelled resignation. And we have another one on its way, and we're frequently featured in the Canadian Legal Information Institute case reports. We're a proud member and work closely with the Alliance of Canadians Combating Anti-Semitism, otherwise known as ALCA, in filing these community impact statements. Presently, we are working through over 1,000 pages of disclosure we've received last week from the Ontario Ministry of Education regarding Patrick Case's investigation of last year's TDSB Grassy Narrows field trip, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And we've recently scored an entry on the so-called Reverse Canary Mission website. Doubtless you've heard of Canary Mission, but there's also Reverse Canary Mission. You can imagine what that's about, where I've personally been written up as being, quote, complicit in apartheid and for engaging in, quote, genocide supporting activities. So if you want to know if you're effective as an organization, you really ought to listen to what your adversaries are saying to each other about you. Now, here's a bit of good news, and it is news because it was just made public earlier today. The Toronto District School Board's Integrity Commissioner dismissed 3 Code of Conduct complaints against trustee Alexandra Lulka-Rotman for denouncing the multiple anti-Semitic delegations at the February 2025 meeting of the Board of Trustees, and quoted extensively from letters written by B'nai B'rith Canada, Canadian Women Against Anti-Semitism, CAEJ, APGI, and of course, our organization, CAEF. Special thanks to our Executive Director, Andrea Spindell, for being the author of that letter. And of course, hats off and kol hakavod to Trustee Lulka-Rotman for taking the risks and shouldering the burden of telling the truth to a hostile audience. Now, some people call these diverse activities on our part a game of whack-a-mole, but I call it the tough slog and day-to-day fight for the Jewish community in Canada and the fundamental values of this country. Now, fighting anti-Semitism is, needless to say, not a solo endeavor. It's effective when it's a cooperative and participatory exercise. We are grateful for the allyship and the close cooperation with our colleagues at the ICEJ within the Jewish community and our dear friends from many other faiths and religious denominations, many of which were recognized tonight. So if you're not already actively involved in the good fight, this is your opportunity tonight to change things and to become part of the team. If you are already receiving the CAEF weekly bulletin, that's fantastic. And if not, please sign up tonight. Friendly volunteers are waiting to take your subscription. Donations to the CAEF in support of our advocacy, education programs, and legal actions are, of course, welcome. We are highly efficient with our funds with almost zero overhead, as we are not paying any staff. All of us are uncompensated volunteers. You can donate online at our website via e-transfer. Please use the QR code on the lovely poster outside of this room. And now, please join me for some dessert in the foyer. My doctor has invoked the magic Harry Potter incantation, Diabetes mellitus, and has advised that I'm not supposed to eat that sugary stuff, but all of you are more than welcome to partake in double portions of the same on my behalf. The night is young and the party isn't over yet. When you're done, please travel home safely. Thank you all. God save the King, and please join me to rise and sing Hatikva to conclude tonight's proceedings. Kol